Welcome to Utah's Fly Corner. Today I'm going to show you how to tie my Willow Nymph. It's a great stonefly pattern. It's a pretty simple tie. Great for imitating early black stonefly nymphs and a couple other stonefly species. Hook I have here is a Daiichi 1560 in a size 14. Thread I'm using is 8/0 uni in dark black. Now with this fly, I generally don't put tails on it, but when I do, I use moose hair. Now this moose hair has been dyed. If you leave moose hair in a dye bath of black for a little while, you get a nice chocolatey brown color that looks pretty good on some nymphs. You can make some neat midges. But what I do is I just snip those butts off. Keep those butts. You can do a lot of stuff with them. Then I just measure the tails. I generally don't put tails on them because the fish really don't care. But with my thread in the back, I hold the tails. I split them between the hook there, and then I bring the thread back here. And what I'm going to do is just hold on, keep them on those sides as I tie back here, tying them down nice and tight. Okie dokie. Once we get those tied in, trimming the length so you don't end up with a lumpy bumpy underbody, I'm going to tie in the ribbing. The ribbing is small brown UTC wire. Catch that in, tie that in on the way up. Just make sure it stays on the side. So make sure that's tied in nice and tight. Nice and tight. Then we're going to tie in. The nymph has a stripe on it, similar to how an Isonychia nymph has, but this is a stonefly. So what I use is Uni 6/0 white. Because what's going to happen with the white is it's going to get wet and it's going to show up, but it's not going to be overbearing like it is when it's dry. Just hold it tight as you wrap back. Key to any good fly, meaning it doesn't fall apart, is wrap tight. Snip that little tag off there, and now we're going to dub. The dubbing I use, I'll just drop my legs. But the dubbing I use, it's just a blend I make. It's brown rabbit fur, black STS dubbing by Hairline, and Fury brown STS dubbing. If there's anything else in here, it's just because I have it in a dubbing box, and sometimes some other things mingle in. Just gonna dub. Now you don't want too bulky of a body here. You want to try and keep a pretty slim profile, as these stones do have a pretty slim profile in the rear. It might look chunky, but that's going to compact down nicely. I want just a scotch more. That's going to be good. You only want to go about a little past halfway. Then bring your rib up and over, your stripe up and over. Catch him in. Don't cut it off. Then we're going to take our wire. And just rib that up relatively close to one another as you go, nice and tight. nice and tight. Just rip that right up. Get your thread on the way up. Grab your stripe, pull it out of the way, tuck it back, and you can tie off your wire. Keep your thread nice and tight, and you just break it off. As long as that thread's nice and tight, you can just snap it off like that. You don't have to play whirly birds. But get that stripe about back. You want to line your thread up here to about halfway on the shank, and make sure that you got that guy tied down to there. So that's where our wing case is going to go to. So we got our rear portion of the fly done. Now we're going to dub just a little bit. Just a little bit, fatten up this thorax here. Start building the thorax. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Now I'm going to put on the legs. The legs I use, sorry about that, they fell on the floor. The legs I use on them is Senyo's laser, Senyo shaggy dub. It's just pieces of fine rubber, this dubbing is, and these little pieces of rubber are actually great for making small mayfly nymph legs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fold it around the thread, so I'm making two legs at once. And just bring my thread around and place it where I want it. And get them to separate. Sometimes they don't want to. And tie down back to where you want it. Back to about where the back of your thorax is. And then you can manhandle that front one, or thread handle it, to the front there. Don't worry about wrapping over the dubbing, because we're going to dub over it again to protect these thread wraps. But then we're going to do the same thing with the front. Just fold it over, offer it to the side, and just pull that rubber as you tie it back to where you want. And you can jump these thread wraps. They don't have to be touch and turns. Jump them to the front. Okay, now we're going to dub again. Just a wee bit. Now this dubbing you want to keep nice and thin. So just little bits of dubbing offered to the thread at a time. The way ensures that you keep it nice and sparse. Dub that on there. And then we're going to go back over that part of the body. And we're going to end up in front of the legs. Make sure you leave plenty of room here at the hook eye. We're going to wind down to the hook eye and wind back up. Now for the wing case on it, I use it's called Duraskin by D-Flies out of Denver, Colorado. It's basically just a piece of vinyl. One side's smooth, the other side's rough, so to say, but it's still smooth, you know. But I just cut a triangle out of it. Depending what size of nymph you're going to tie, it depends on what size triangle you cut out, but just a little triangle like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer it up. First I'm going to measure it up. Take a look at how it's sitting. I can actually make it just a wee bit shorter, and by doing that, just cut the bottom end of the triangle off. Now this leading edge, you want to watch out, because when you pull this forward, it's going to lay down on top of that, so you don't want it beyond that. You want it just at it. Now this part can be a little bit of a hop in the butt, to say the least. I try and grab that front leg, and I kind of just stick that one in my other finger there. Just come down this. Now I'm pressing down my finger really tight, and wrapping really tight, just to hold that in place. It did roll on me a little bit, but you can muscle them. Just like that. Keep everybody back while you wind onto this. And this piece that came up over the eye, just push it up and snip it off. Okie dokie, we got our wing pad sitting in place. Now we're going to take the stripe and try to just twist it. That'll strengthen it a lot. Just pull that over. And tuck it back. Take a look at how you're sitting. Can actually pull on this a little bit, bring them over. That's better. I like this long hair here. It's driving me nuts. Okay, so we got our stripe, our legs. Now we're gonna dub just a little bit more. Slice dub, 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 dub. Well, the fish like it. And you want it to go nice and sparse again. Make sure that that's tied back. Grab them and just pull them back. Now you want to dub back onto it. And just in front of it, you want to take your stripe and pull it up over that dubbing. Nice and taut. Let's start tidying up. Snip that out of the way. And look at how everybody's sitting. Sweep everybody back. Make yourself a nice brown head. And we're going to whip. We're up nice and tight. Snip the thread. You got yourself a willow stone. Now all we're going to do, in case you got a little converted on me there, gotta pull back into place. Now what we're going to do is trim the legs. The front ones you can leave rather long, but I just pinch them right beyond the eye and snip them. I don't care for long legs on it. With the back legs, it's critical where you cut these, because you can go short on them, but the longest you can go is back here at this hook bend right there. What I do is I don't pull on them when I cut them. I cut them right there. Right at the back of that bend. What that's going to do is it's going to leave you a long enough leg that's got action in the water, but what it's also not going to do is get stuck in the hook bend, because when you have long legs, they get stuck in the hook bends. And now, with the stripe, you can just barely make it out there on the body, which is what you want, but it's pretty predominant on the wing case, which, if you look at these stones, they are just like that. But what I like to do, just to protect that thread a little bit, you can either wax it or just put a touch of head cement on here. Just on the thread itself there, on that little bit of a line. You can also do it on the dubbing part here. And you can cement the head all the way around, because you want this baby to be durable, for the simple sake that it's going to catch you plenty of fish at this time of the year. They work great all throughout the year too. That's the Willow Stone. I'm Johnny, Utah. Check me out on my site, www.utahsflycorner.com, and thanks for watching.